Hello everyone and welcome to the TV6 Digital Desk live stream. My name is Molly Birch and I'll be taking you through a recap of today's headlines. We start every night at 8/7 Central Time from Sunday to Thursday. Feel free to join us at any time during the show or after as well. I'll also be here to answer any questions that you guys have throughout the time. I'll be here keeping an eye on these comment sections, and I'll also be hanging around after the stream to answer any questions you have then. So answer whatever or ask whatever questions you have in the chat. I will be keeping my eye on it. And again, we run from Sunday to Thursday at 8 Eastern Time. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Let's get started at looking at these headlines. Marquette City Police report fewer calls for service than usual over the Labor Day holiday. Chief Ryan Grimm says the calls were for typical infractions such as drunk drivers or bar-side assaults. Grimm says it wasn't overly busy compared to previous years, and calls for service were nearly 50 fewer than the normal number of calls.
We had less calls for service this year than we've had the last two, so that was good. And the arrests were right on par with what they normally are for a busy holiday weekend, so it was good. Everybody behaved themselves and everybody was safe, and we appreciate that.
Grimm says they appreciate everyone staying safe during the events going on over the holiday weekend. And in continuing coverage, the parents of Jordan DeMay say the time is now to take action to protect our kids, our communities, and to honor their son, Jordan DeMay. It's been over 2 years since we first learned the 17-year-old Marquette teen, DeMay, died by suicide after getting caught up in what we now know to be a sextortion scheme. Since, his parents and law enforcement have worked to not just find those responsible for the events of that evening, but to share his story. TV6's Elizabeth Peterson has been following this landmark case from the beginning and will be in court on Thursday as 2 Nigerian men are sentenced for their role in the scheme that led to Jordan's death. But first, she reports on the impact of this case and a loss felt not just here in the Upper Peninsula, but across the world.
Jordan was larger than life, right? So when I think about all of this, like that his story has changed lives internationally, I think, of course you did.
I think everyone from the federal agencies to the local agencies now have a schematic way of investigating this. Save that IP address, block them, and follow up with the federal agencies.
These scams are fast-moving, ever-changing. They range from sextortion schemes to business and bank scams. The criminals prey on the vulnerable and use social media as a gateway into our homes and our personal lives.
This is the real deal. There's real people that came into my home and did this. And there's real people that are being held accountable for this. So it gives it some teeth, and I want people to understand that.
John, Jennifer, law enforcement, those in the Department of Justice, they all want people to understand the risk we take every day when we pick up our phones and computers and jump online. It's frightening, it's bigger than we realize, and it's not going anywhere.
Cell phones are wonderful, but what many parents and young people don't realize is that they're just a call or text away from criminal networks that are operating around the world. And so we have to be careful. People should not assume people are who they present themselves as.
Both Samuel and Samson Ogoshi will be in Marquette Federal Court on Thursday for sentencing. In April, both men pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy to sexually exploit minors. The charge carries a mandatory minimum of 15 years in prison and a maximum penalty of 30 years in prison. Tomorrow, we hear more from Jordan's parents on how they're fighting to protect other kids and keep Jordan's spirit alive. And a project at the Iron Ore Heritage Trail in Negaunee is now complete. The Marshfield Boardwalk project is officially open to the public. The Trail Authority says the 8-foot wide, 1,000-foot long trail is located off County Road 492 in Negaunee. Trail Authority Administrator Bob Hendrickson says the over $300,000 project was paid for with the Michigan Trust Fund Act. He also says the boardwalk will help visitors immerse themselves in the natural surroundings.
Kind of kick back and watch nature for a little bit. Also gives a little bit of a break from the busyness of the trail. So the main trail is just a few 100 yards away, and people can take this. And
Hendrickson also says the only rule is not to ride off-road recreation vehicles on the boardwalk. The peak time to view the fall colors in the Keweenaw will reportedly be later than normal this year. According to the National Weather Service, there will be colder temperatures this weekend. This will be followed by warmer than average temperatures throughout the month. This could delay the peak time for colors. If this happens, the peak time will likely be later, more in October. Additionally, the NWS says that this year's colors may also be impacted.
July and August have been dry months, and because of that long period of dryness, some indicators suggest the colors may not be as vibrant as they've been in past years.
You can find the full breakdown as to why these fall colors may be peaking later than usual from TV6's Houghton Hancock Bureau reporter Colin Jackson at UpperMichiganSource.com or the TV6 Fox UP mobile news app. He'll tell you about where the best locations are for being able to see those colors. And finally tonight, Marquette is revealing a new sculpture installation this Friday. The Seven Grandfather Teachings is by Anishinaabe artist Jason Quigno. The sculpture was carved from 7 locally sourced boulders, each representing the 7 grandfathers and the cultural wisdom they embody. City of Marquette Arts and Culture says this sculpture will be the epicenter of the new City Shoreline Cultural Trail.
It's placed in a very visible, very active part of our community and really juxtaposed next to the ore dock, which is a relic of another timeline of our history in Marquette, and be able to engage with all of these different histories and storylines in one place is going to be really neat.
The sculpture reveal is on Friday evening at 5:30 at the Spear Dock Walking Pier south of the ore dock. The event will include an honor song performed by the Summer Cloud Singers and an evening performance and light show starting at 8. And that's all the stories we have for you tonight. Thank you again for tuning in with me here at the TV6 Digital Desk. If you have a story idea you think we should report on, feel free to contact us at any time. These are a few easy ways to get a hold of both myself and others in the newsroom, whichever way you'd prefer to contact us, by email or phone. You can even find me on social media and reach out to me there if that's how you'd prefer to get in contact with us. We would love to hear from you and what's happening in your community, if there's anything that you think that we should be aware of. Thank you again for joining me here tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, have a great rest of your evening.